SBO is the best.
Alright, let's lock in. So in this video, we are going to look at the effects of exercise, breaking it down into immediate effects, which is what happens during exercise, the short-term effects, and finally the long-term effects. So starting with the immediate effects, there are three that you need to know: hot, sweaty, red skin, increase in the depth and frequency of breathing, and an increase in heart rate. So obviously, when you start exercising, your skin gets hot, sweaty, and you can get red as well. And this is all tied to a process which we call thermal regulation. Because when you start to exercise, your muscles produce heat and your body tries to keep your core temperature from rising too much. And it does that by sending more blood to the skin so that heat can evaporate via the skin. And it also produces sweat, which helps to cool you down as the sweat evaporates and takes energy with it. So that's why you feel hot, you feel sweaty, and you might look red as well. Next, let's look at breathing depth and frequency increasing. So obviously when you start exercising, your breathing gets faster. This is so that your body can breathe in more oxygen and release more carbon dioxide. And thirdly, we have heart rate increases. So your heart rate rises more so that blood can deliver oxygen to the working muscles and also remove waste products. All right, next, let's look at the short-term effects, and we're going to look at tiredness, fatigue, lightheadedness, nausea, aching, DOMS, and cramp. We looked at DOMS briefly in the last video, or the video before the last, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to refresh a bit more on concepts around DOMS, then feel free to check out the previous video. Starting with tiredness, fatigue, these are very straightforward. So tiredness, fatigue, this just means that your body has worked really hard, it's used a lot of energy, and it needs time to recover. Lightheadedness, a common reason why people may feel lightheaded after exercise is because there is a drop in blood pressure or blood pooling when you stop exercising suddenly. So blood pooling is like, you might have felt your fingertips or your toes or any part of your body that is an extremity feeling sort of clogged up with blood, feeling heavy with blood. That is blood pooling. That's what happens when you stop exercising suddenly and you don't cool down properly. This could also happen when there is a sudden change in posture. For example, you've been playing football or playing tennis and you're making hard runs and hard cuts, and then all of a sudden you just stand still. So this is ultimately because less blood briefly reaches the brain, and that's what causes you to start feeling dizzy and lightheaded. Also, dehydration can also make dizziness more likely. So it's important to cool down properly and don't go from max effort to just stopping exercise. Next, we have nausea, and this is feeling sick after intense exercise. And this can happen because blood flow is prioritized to the muscles and the skin, especially in heat. Also because the gut gets less blood during hard, intense effort, and this can also happen when dehydration makes symptoms worse. So you might feel nauseous, especially after high intensity work. Next, we have aching, DOMS, or cramps. Again, to refresh your memory, DOMS stands for delayed onset muscle soreness. And DOMS is that stiff, achy feeling that often appears around like 1 to 3 days after a hard or a new workout. And for this course, we still group DOMS under short-term effects for this topic. So you want to treat it as a short-term effect if you're asked about it in the exam. And cramps are sudden, painful tightening or like spasms of a muscle. So it's basically an involuntary contraction. And again, I think I touched on this in the last video, but a quick misconception is that DOMS is lactic acid. DOMS is not in itself lactic acid that is just sitting in your muscles. The lactic acid in your muscles actually clears away relatively quickly after exercise. DOMS is more linked to tiny muscle damage and repair that happens in the muscles. All right, now let's go on to long-term effects. The long-term effects we're going to look at is change in body shape, improvements in the component of fitness, and we're going to list out the different components of fitness that you could get an improvement in. And you can also experience an increase in heart size, which is known as cardiac hypertrophy. Cardiac hypertrophy. That's when your heart becomes bigger and stronger, and you could also experience a lower heart rate, and this can be referred to as bradycardia. Bradycardia. This is when your heart rate gets really low, and specifically when it gets low to about less than 60 beats per minute. So body shape changes. This is straightforward because some people, their body composition can change when they are training regularly. Over a few months, they might lose fat mass in their body through, physical activity and diet changes. And some people can also gain muscle from resistance training. Some people can do both at the same time. So when you look at the mirror after a while training, you see a shift in your body. Next, we have components of fitness improve. So these are the different components of fitness that you need to know and link them to training effects. So we have muscular strength. That is just how much force the muscle can produce. We have muscular endurance. That's how long a muscle can keep working repeatedly. Speed is just how fast you move. Flexibility or suppleness is a range of movement at a joint. Cardiovascular endurance is how well the heart and the lungs deliver oxygen for an extended period of time. Stamina is your ability to keep going, keep working for extended periods of time. And then lastly, we have our heart hypertrophy or cardiac hypertrophy and lower resting heart rate. Remember the resting, don't forget the resting heart rate. That's important. All right, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed this video and if you feel like you need some more practice questions to really get you up to speed and to really master the concepts in this video, but also in other topics in this course, then make sure you check out our website, superpeonline.com, for a ton of practice resources, and more resources are going to be coming out soon to help you ace your exam. All right, see you in the next video.